I am.
Sorry, that's always interrupts, but there you go. We're recording.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Joy. Good to see everybody. I'm your chair this year. So yeah, I know. So anyway, I apologize that we're starting a few minutes late, but we're going to start with calling the meeting order. I hereby call the meeting to order. It is 6:36, and I'm delighted to see everyone. Sabdy, would you like to run us through minutes?
Let's do that. Hi, everyone. My name is Sabdy. I'm your vice chair this year. For minutes, Paulo, do the minutes?
Yeah, so I shared the minutes in part of the handouts. I think people got them. And just so you know, quorum for ourselves this year is actually 5. I know it usually is up to 7, but we do have a smaller group this time around. So 5 is the quorum. I know this one's a little bit funny though, because we're actually looking at last year's members only to be able to vote on the minutes. So I'm actually counting the boxes now to make sure we have enough votes. All right, I'll turn it back to you. 2, 3,
4. We'll do
4, 5.
So
we have
Sabdy,
votes? Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting. I know that Spencer is going to be joining us later, and I think that would give us.
That'll give us quorum.
So should we hold the minutes until Spencer joins us?
Well, yeah, we can do that. I will say though, I think Tanya just jumped on. Tanya is one of the regular members who was here last year, so that gives us just enough. Tanya, if you're with us.
Yeah, I'm with you,
4,
but
5,
I'm
yes.
on video stuff right now. So I'm with you in darkness for right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it up to y'all then to give motions if you want to go ahead and approve minutes.
Okay, you want to go ahead, Joy? Can we do that?
Sure. Do we want to do it now?
Let's go ahead and do it now. So let's make a motion to approve December's minutes.
So first, okay, who seconded? Did everyone have a chance to take a look at last month's minutes? Are there any additions or corrections?
No,
all right,
all good.
Fabulous. I'm going to call the question. So there's a motion and a second to approve last month's minutes. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Seeing no opposition, the motion is passed as moved. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much, Sabdy and Joy.
Mm-hmm.
This next piece on our agenda is the public participation. So for new folks, how we typically do this, it's on your agenda as well, but we try to keep it to 2 minutes max. And I have a very fancy way of tracking that. I just put my cell phone timer up on the screen, or 10 minutes for all the public comments. If by chance we run out of time, we also do have a space on the HRAC website where you could also send questions and leave comments for the commission as well. And I do go through those. So with that said, we have someone with us now. It looks like Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. Let's see, I'm gonna, the verbiage in Zoom is so allowed to talk. I'm going to allow you to talk now. And you are welcome to share with us when you're ready. Alyssa, are you with us? I'm going to ask you to unmute one more time. Oh, hi, Alyssa.
I'm here, but I'm at my job, so I'm going to have like kind of be in and out more listening to what this is about, since I'm new to working in the area and kind of got an invite. So this would be my first meeting.
Oh, very cool. Well, welcome. I hope to see you at future meetings as well. And thanks for multitasking with us and bringing us to work.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Okay, folks. So that's all we have for public comment right now. Next thing on the agenda is to jump into intros to everybody here, because I know not everybody knows each other. But if it's cool with y'all, down below for materials and logistics overview, one of the pieces there is community agreements. Ever since I can remember, community agreements typically happen at the beginning of a meeting. So if it's cool, Joy and Sabdy, can I go ahead and review those real quick, and then we'll jump straight back to the agenda? I think I saw nods.
Yes.
Sounds
Mhm.
great to
That
me.
works.
Welcome to HVAC where things are flexible.
Yeah, first meeting, I'm already messing everything up, huh? Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and share screen. I did also send these to all of you as an attachment. Let me just share my screen real quick. Boom. Okay. I'm gonna look if anybody could give me a thumbs up if you see my screen. And it should be Human Rights Advisory Community Agreements.
Mhm.
It's
Sweet.
just a little, yeah, it's a little small. Like we're seeing like a bunch of different Microsoft Word
Files.
screens. Yeah, if you want to open that one big.
Interesting.
Perfect.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Okay, and we'll even give it some of that. Boom.
Yeah, love it.
Zoom on Zoom. Just for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and read through these, but if somebody has any questions or clarifications, we'll go through those at the very end. So using correct names and gender pronouns, we don't want to make an assumption of how people identify. Keeping an open mind, so really stretching yourself in these spaces. We go through a lot of very deep and often heavy topics, so please keep an open mind in this space. Being respectful of each other. Maintain an emphasis on the group as a whole, avoid divisiveness. I'm wondering if anybody maybe wants to expand on this, or maybe something that they saw last year where this could, this was really emphasized. Just feel free to jump in.
I can make something up.
Which part was emphasized? The avoid decisiveness or avoid
Yeah.
divisiveness? Yeah, I think it came up a lot. I think we all have a lot of different strong opinions, but we tend to be respectful and hear all folks out. And then if anyone's feeling hurt, like speaking up and sharing that and making sure that their opinions are heard.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Sure.
Let's stay on topic. Let's respect time. Consider all manners of participation. Take care of yourselves. You know, usually we're in person and I tell people if you gotta leave the room, go to the restroom, or all adults, do what you gotta do. Here on Zoom, same thing. You're in your homes, so be comfortable. Or many of you might be. Practice patience. Assume positive intent and understand impact. So there's intent versus impact and how we treat each other. Remember whom we serve and why we serve. A lot of us are here because we care about all the Beaverton families. We care about Beaverton communities. Be willing to accept feedback. Speak loudly and clearly. One thing I want to emphasize on the speak loudly and clearly part is sometimes we do have folks who have specific language needs or might have another preferred language. So if we ever have interpretation, please speak slowly. Also, the wonderful Tanya Carter is taking our notes. So speak loud, slow down every now and then. I have to remind myself all the time, but yes, please speak loudly and clearly. Are there any additions, edits, questions folks have about the community agreements up here?
I just always like to encourage folks who tend to be more quiet to step up and speak up because it helps a lot. Because sometimes, like, I'm a person who speaks a lot and I don't want to crowd out some really good opinions and information and ideas from folks who are a little bit more quiet. So I try to step back, and I would love for you guys to step forward if you tend to be more quiet and try to push yourselves to participate a little more.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. That was exactly what I was saying, Lisa. I went to hear everyone's point of view, and I'm going to just make the offer, if you want to say something and you don't want to say it in the Zoom forum, you could privately message me and I'll read it anonymously if you like. But I want everyone to feel safe saying stuff.
All right, y'all. Thank you. Is there anything else? And I can't see if anyone's raising hands or anything, but I am cycling through the cameras now. Share screen. I'll go ahead and move on then. So you all have a copy of this. But here we are. Okay, so let's go on to the next piece. I am so stoked to introduce or have everybody introduce themselves here. I will say that I have been looking at many of your names, especially the new folks. I've been looking at your names for a really long time. and I kind of know you, but now's my first time seeing your faces, and it's great. I know I wasn't around for the interviews, but thank you for your flexibility and patience with me. I just had my baby girl in October, so still feels new, but yeah, I'm so stoked to see you all. I put in the questions on the agenda, or just the prompts, is to just one, introduce yourselves and introduce yourself however you wish. If you have been on the board before, just let us know how long. And then what brings you here? So when you looked at the, 15, 16 different boards and commissions at the city, what made you say human rights? That's me. So what brought you here? And one thing I didn't put on there, but I'd like to add, if folks could also share their preferred gender pronoun. I was just looking at our community agreements and it reminded me, we should probably figure out what our gender pronouns are. So unless there are any questions or anything, I'll go ahead and I will just call folks out by the order that I see the Zoom boxes. So with that said, Karen Stratton, hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And I'm new to the board. Those of you who have been on it before know that, but maybe the newcomers don't. I'm an alternate. I've been living in Beaverton for my whole adult life and retired about 5 years ago from being a Beaverton teacher. And I know Spencer. That's really how I decided to apply for this board or this commission, because he always spoke of it very highly, and I thought that the work that you've been doing is very important and I wanted to be part of it. So that's me.
Thank you so much. What school did you teach at?
Sexton Mountain.
Okay, not me. How about you, Amy? Is that you? Nope, not you.
I'm Westview.
Ah, got it. All right, thank you. Oh yeah, and Spencer will be here in a little bit. I know he had an earlier appointment. So Molly, hello.
Hi there. Congratulations on your new baby, and hi to everybody on the call and in the commission. My name is Molly. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a new member of ATRAC as an alternate. So I have spent exactly 1 day on the commission, on the board. And what brings me here, I have worked with Washington County and Beaverton within the legal system for a long time. And so I continually are looking for points where, as somebody who works in the legal system and sees a lot of practices that are completely surrounded by human rights and relative to human rights issues within our community, I am just interested in getting involved and contributing more, and to hear what the community says, and to get on a board where we can do some good work. So I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, Molly. I'm excited you're here as well. Councilor Hartmeier-Prigg. Hello.
Everyone, I am Ashley Hartmeier-Prigg. My pronouns are she, her. Please feel free to call me Ashley. I am the newest member on City Council. I was elected in October. I ran to complete the seat 1 term, which was left vacant when Mayor Beatty became our mayor. So I'll be running again very soon for a full term, but I'm super excited to get to be a part of this commission. And I think as the meeting goes on and it comes time for my updates, really I'm here to hear from you. So I would love to hear, when it comes to that point, what you want me to come share at this meeting. But I'm really here to hear from y'all and be your partner in this work and advocate for this work back at council. So I'm lived in Beaverton my whole life, and I'm really excited to get to be involved in this way.
What high school did you go to, Ashley?
I went to Valley Catholic.
Valley Catholic. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've been having lots of conversations with people about the front lawn lately.
Oh,
yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Well, it's kind of a controversial front lawn because it's just a big front lawn, and we can.
Oh yes,
A lot of real
I do know.
estate. Lots of real estate. Those nuns own everything.
So I was telling someone recently, I was like, maybe I'll go talk to them and ask about putting in gardens for feeding people.
There you go. We have a very healthy community garden, actually several community gardens, I think in all of our NACs, so cool. Amy Browning's with us with MYAB. Hi, Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a senior at Westview High School, and I'm also the co-chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board. So I'm a liaison to this commission from the board. I'm here basically to provide a youth perspective to the commission and also to learn about what work you all do and to try and contribute to the best of my ability. I really want to make sure that everyone in Beaverton feels safe and comfortable and respected. So I really value the work that we do here. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Amy. And I'll say too that something that I found really common amongst boards and commissions throughout the years is the need for a lot of cross-pollination, and folks always want to reach out to people on DAB or the Diversity Advisory Board or the Bicycle Advisory Board, or we want to speak to some youth. Amy's a great resource for that. She's been really helpful in those spaces. So thank you, Amy. Next up, Kathy French. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Paulo. I've been a member of the board for a year. I've lived in Beaverton for almost 2 years. And I wanted to be a board member because I really believe in participating in your community and really believe in working to make things safe and just. And I'm retired, so I needed something to do.
Thanks, Kathy, and I'm glad that you chose us. Lisa.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Kipperstock. I moved to Beaverton about 2.5 years ago and started a job at Virginia Garcia, which is a federally qualified health center that serves basically the Medicaid population of Washington County. And I wanted to get involved in my local community where I work and live to help advocate for my patients and their needs. And so that's why I joined ATRAC. Excited to have you all here. This is my second year on ATRAC.
Thanks, Lisa. Did you share your pronouns?
Oh, she, her, hers. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, of course, I appreciate it. Sabdy, hello, and Vice Chair.
Hi there. Hi, my name is Sabdy, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm really excited to be your vice chair this year. This is my second year, going into my second year with ATRAC, and I moved to Beaverton about 2 years ago. And really, I got involved because I wanted to just, as Kathy said, help, be a part of my community and create the kind of community that I want to live in. And building a safe and equitable community is really important to me. So here I am.
Thank you, Samdi.
Mm-hmm.
Chief Groshong, welcome.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ronda Groshong. I serve as the chief for the city of Beaverton. I've worked for the Beaverton Police Department for 27 years. I started my work with ATRAC, well, to go back a little bit in history, there's always been a police liaison to the Human Rights Advisory Commission. I got involved, I had never been in that liaison position, but I got involved in 2020 when the death of George Floyd happened. And I partnered with ATRAC to be a sounding board and to help come up with the recommendations that ATRAC presented to the city council last January. And the recent update, I think, was in December, Paulo, or November, that the city manager gave. And I'm back to continue to be a part of ATRAC, be a liaison, be a sounding board, but mostly to listen and learn. One thing that I've always learned, or that I have especially learned lately, is transparency is more important than ever, and transparency isn't what it was even 2 years ago, and that the police need to strive to be more transparent with their community. And so hoping that my work with you all leads me to be better, and my department to be better at being transparent with our community. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, Chief. You're not at the office right now, are you?
No.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's a big, cold building to be in right now.
Yeah, it is. I'm on my couch.
Yeah, good. Hi, Joy, our chair for this year.
Hi, Paolo. I'm Joy Stevens. My pronouns are she, her, hers. So I'm kind of agnostic. So call me hey you, it's fine. This is my 3rd year today starting. And I've lived in Beaverton, I think 5 years. Time flies. And I want to get involved in the thing that I cared the most about, and that's civil rights and human rights, especially issues around houselessness and domestic violence. So, and I applaud all of us that are giving our personal time for free to speak up and be heard. I think that's really important in a democracy. So yay, all of us.
Thank you, Joy. And those values of yours are definitely reflected through your work. Corey.
Good evening, everyone. So excited to be here, and just want to say that I'm super impressed with just everyone and their background and their commitment to this work. Corey Villatoro, pronouns she, her, hers. This is my first day, my first 30 minutes. So I'm just kind of absorbing all this great energy and looking to learn a lot from everyone. But what brought me here is just, I think as we enter the junior year of COVID, it's really built a lot of deeper connection and personal internalization for myself. I've been in Beaverton for 6 years, originally from New York, Brooklyn. So this is my first, home away from home. And it really took a lot of self-reflecting to really realize that I haven't been as engaged as I'd love to be. And I've been doing a lot of advocacy work in my day job, in my professional setting, just everything going on with the communities, and really wanting to lean in a little bit more. So being involved in the Beaverton School District, because my daughter goes to school at Nancy Riles, but also doing work at Nike, but then really wanting to kind of do more. I'm friends with Nadia Hassan, and she really was such a great sounding board and a connector for me. And she actually put me towards this. And so really happy to be a part of it. Very excited to kind of join this journey with everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Corey. Tanya.
Hey, my name's Tanya Carter, she, her, hers. And I am starting my first year of my 2nd term. So kind of oldie but goodie. And I first joined or thought about joining HRAC around housing issues. I was active with the housing shelter back in the day when we actually could go in and volunteer, and it's evolved and changed. So I was active around those issues. And then also my son, who went to Sexton Mountain, Anton Getzlaff, I don't know, he goes by Tony now and it's a whole thing, but he really struggled with some identity issues and was bullied extremely. And so that was kind of an impetus. And then also that at one point, actually Captain or Chief Groshong was involved with it. We had the experience of being attacked in our home, and Ronda was great in supporting us. And then when Tony was 16, 17, he was being a smartass and ended up getting tackled by 5 different officers. And I don't know if it was, he's never really talked to me through it, but he spent a night in the holding cell. And I don't know, it was at the transit center, so there's a lot of different people who could have responded to that. But he was a smart ass skinny teen, not wanting to put a cigarette out, and he got jumped. And so I guess I'm here for my son, because, and I'm here for the homeless. Those are kind of passion projects for me. And I've loved working with the police force in the past 2 years, because Ronda and or Chief, I don't know what I'm supposed to call you, but anyhow, Ronda, they've really shown up and done work with us and listened to we've had hard conversations and nothing but respect. came from them, and I hope they felt respect from us. It's a real changing time, and I'm still very passionate about helping with the transparency and working for the issues of, just keeping it safe on all sides. I want the cops safe. There's a lot of bad actors out there too. So, mental illness and the homeless. I am the world. That's
Yeah. Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
And that's really common in these spaces in HRAC when we're discussing human rights, right? Some boards and commissions are very specific in their scope. Bicycle Advisory Committee works on bicycle paths and sidewalks. Human rights is a little bit more broad, right? So there's so many directions that we could go in. And later, I think Joy and Sabdy are going to talk about some opportunities to brainstorm what you all actually want to do for this year. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. We're going to go to this next piece for the liaison updates. And so just for some context, I do want to share that HRAC is really lucky to have all the liaisons that we have, and I'm so stoked about it. Not every board does have a staff liaison, but not every board has a Mayor's Youth Advisory liaison or has a chief, but I do think every board does have a council liaison. Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong there. But I know we've been with, actually, I'm not sure how long the police has been liaisoning to HRAC. I'm not sure if you know that answer, Chief.
At least 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say about 5, because I think it was 5 or 6. It was when Chief Spalding was here that he started. So that's been a bit ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Got it. So I know, I feel really lucky that we have a BPD, Beaverton Police Department. Lots of acronyms. If you hear one you don't understand, just let me know. We have a BPD liaison, and I'm stoked that we have the chief of all folks. Yeah, and then myself and Ashley and Amy are all here for you, of course, as well. And I will be updating our rosters later so that our information will be there as well. So with that said, this portion, usually we share general updates from the council priority side, from the chief side, what's going on with MYAB and going on in our schools. And I do like what Ashley said also earlier. Please do let us know too if there's anything specific you want us to be coming prepared to these meetings with. So I'll stop talking. I'll turn it over to, how about Ashley to share the council update?
Sure, thank you. So we had our first meeting of the year last night, and thankfully they kept it kind of light on us. It's actually because it takes a lot of work for staff to prepare for our meetings. So given that all the prep happens in advance and we want our staff to have some rest, it was good to have kind of a light agenda last night to give people that time for rest and recovery over the holidays. We had a council retreat. Did you see or hear from Councilor Hassan after our retreat?
I talked to her a little bit.
Okay, I didn't remember the timing, if you would have seen her after our retreat or not. So we had a retreat.
Word, yeah.
We spent all day together at City Hall, masked up and distanced, and talked about our goals and priorities for the year. I don't have the write-up, so I can't read you like verbatim what we kind of landed on as a group, but it will come back, or we'll talk about it at council and kind of get even more into it. But we decided to really set the tone for the city and for ourselves was to start with our values. And our values are rooted in our fiscal responsibility to the city and to our residents, to diversity, equity, and inclusion, to climate action, and to community vision. So those 4 areas are what we say are our values, and that should be part of everything that we do. And then from there, we went on to establish 8 priorities. And those are the ones I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. So I'll be sure to share them with you next time we're together. And what we want the city to be doing then is to look at those values and look at those priorities and make sure the work that we're doing is pushing those things forward. It's really helpful to have a vision. And as we're going through this time of transition, we're a year into our new form of government, but we're only a few months into having our permanent city manager And we had a brief window of a 7-member council, and we will be restored whole again, hopefully in May. But, we're just going through a lot of transition. And Corey, I really appreciated that it's the junior year of the pandemic. Like that is over everything. Omicron is truly just, I don't know if y'all watch our daily COVID cases, but it's been like startling to watch Oregon's cases go up. So all of that, how can we best take care of our city and our residents, knowing we have limited resources, knowing whether that's human time or money, and just making sure that we're doing the best we can for our residents. So some things that will be coming very soon, I'm sure you've heard is, we're working on a permanent shelter in our city, which is something I'm really excited for us to get to do work on. Through the American Rescue Plan Act. For our new members, it's one of the federal relief programs where the city is receiving an allocation for COVID relief funds, and the council will be allocating some of that money. And then we've also secured money from some of our state legislators to help us establish, purchase, build, whatever it's going to be, a permanent shelter in our city. And I'm just really excited about that because right now we just don't really have the level of service that we need for our homeless residents. I'm grateful that the warming shelter became, for as much time as it is, pre-COVID, our warming shelter was 1 night a week. And COVID has forced us now to have our warming shelter be 7 nights a week, which I think is great, but we still, we can never meet the need. So the shelter is going to be a huge one for us to really serve our residents in our community. This American Rescue Plan Act money, or ARPA, as you'll hear us say, this is like a once in my lifetime amount of money, right? We don't often get these types of dollars from the federal government where the city can just use it for what's best for the city. So we're really excited about that and excited to share with you more as that evolves and as we make those investments. I think I'll keep it at that. And then, yes, please let me know, what do you want to hear from council? I can give you kind of a general every time, but if there's things that you want to hear about specifically, just let me know and I'll do my best to come with an update for you.
Junior year of the pandemic, and I still forget to unmute myself.
I like it.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Amy.
Yes, so first off, full disclaimer, I was actually unable to go to December's MEAP meeting. So I'm giving you all of this updates from our secretary. So yeah, for those people that are new here, MEAB usually does a youth summit once a year. So right now that's a huge project that we're working on. We're hoping to have it May 26th at the Patricia Research Center for the Arts. So right now we're working to secure that facility and hopefully have it open to a lot of mostly high school students. Those are the target group that we have. But we'd be inviting a lot of guest speakers, kind of a situation where people come to learn and also to share and have discussions about important youth issues and ways that they want help and can receive it. So that's a core project that we're working on. We also were able to work with the city to establish independent communications with our community. So we'll be able to launch our own social media platform soon and have our own email address. So that's really been something very important to us, and we're excited for that change. In terms of other just youth specific issues in Beaverton, the Omicron COVID cases are really having a huge impact on our schools. At my school, Westview, we have a lot of students that are absent, teachers that are unable to come to work, and it's becoming kind of a growing concern, at least with my classmates and everyone. So we're doing our best, but we're hoping that it'll improve soon. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Amy. Yeah, I kind of sounds scary to me being in a confined space with, I don't even know how many kids are in an average classroom these days, but okay, be safe. Chief Groshong.
Well, as Amy alluded to, the COVID monster does not discriminate with anybody, including police officers. So we've had a little bit of an outbreak, not a huge one, but of course that affects staffing. So we're playing catch up with that. Not a lot of people really sick, but people having to quarantine because of close contacts and if they're unvaccinated. So trying to keep up with that and then keep our patrol levels up. So that's been quite the project the last couple of weeks. We had a busy holiday season. Our community services department every year does a giving tree where they put trees up with tags for kiddos, families in need of a little extra help around the holidays. And we get those referrals from officers who see families on maybe calls or contacts, the Union Gospel Mission and the Salvation Army. And officers and other city staff will adopt a family or a child, and they have a wish list. And so the officers go out and shop, and their families shop and bring gifts in, and then they are delivered to these various organizations. So that was very successful. We were able to help 55 families this year in the Beaverton area. So busy holiday season. The start of the new year, budget prep is starting. Our budget doesn't start until July 1, but preparation starts right now. So that's a big thing on my plate right now. I'm very excited to announce that we have diversity, equity, and inclusion training coming up in the month, end of February, beginning of March for all officers and support staff. It is a 3-hour training that we're very excited about. And that is through human resources, through a specific provider. Has anyone ever heard of Lillian SciComms? Yeah, so we're working through her to do that. And then also on Monday, we have 4 installments for officers to attend the Red Door, the Evolve project. Have you heard of that? Has anybody heard of that? Yeah. So I've actually gone twice, and the most amazing experience, and our officers are really positive about it. And so we're doing that, and that's about all I have to report right now. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay. Oh, Tanya?
Yeah. So how many, you've got 4 trainings coming up. Could you say it again about the Red Door? Or
Yeah, it's a Red Door project, and what it is it's a 3-hour block where it's monologues of different perspectives of actual police. So yeah, and so we were gifted to the Reeser Foundation 4 separate training sessions for the police. And so our first one was a month ago, and then we have one, like I said, Monday, and then one in March and one in April.
Wow. That's great for the whole staff.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah.
So cool. Yeah.
It's really cool. The first one I went to years ago was in person. And to see the actors in person, it was really amazing. Of course, because of COVID, I can't wait to stop saying that. It's online now, of course. Takes a little bit away from it, but it's still a really good experience.
Wow, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions for Chief or the other liaisons? I just want to remind folks to go ahead and open up the chat. Lisa posted some great stuff about the Red Door project as well. And we generally use the chat quite a bit. I'm about to throw some links in there right now as well. So let's see, for the city updates, utility billing and online payments, there's a huge update here. The city's transitioning their software to a new system for all customers. So utility customers for services like water, sewer, stormwater, any of those bills, if you're currently enrolled in the city's auto pay or online payment system, even if you're not in the auto pay, but you have your information on there, you're going to need to update that information. The current auto pay setups will cut off after January 26th. So, you got a little more than 20 days for that. And the existing auto pay and online customers, you all need to visit this site, which I'm going to put in the chat, beavertonoregon.gov/billing. That's pretty easy. You could log in or create new profile there. So let me throw that in the chat here, at least the link to that real quick. The other piece, and I'm sure you know this and you can feel it, but the winter weather is here. Hold on, paste.
Really? I'm surprised.
It's a little chilly out. I'll say too, it was Kathy who mentioned the hair. That little bit of hair I did have, I didn't realize still kept me really warm. But wow, it's a lot colder than than other years, isn't it? So the winter weather's here. Stay safe in this winter by preparing for now extreme weather, travel, power outages, outdoor safety, and more. We do also have, I don't know if it's ours, but if you want to stay up to date with current and local advisory warnings, you can stay tuned with the weather reports by downloading the app from publicalerts.org. And then it goes into some general tips. I think this probably came from emergency management manager Mike Muma. That's my guess. But I'm going to, instead of regurgitating all of those, they are quite helpful tips. So I'm just going to copy paste it as well in the chat that you could look at, as well as a link to where you could download that app. And cool. Did I do it? Okay. Lastly, save the date for the Mayor's State of the Address. So save this date, everybody, Tuesday, March 29th at noon. The City of Beaverton has decided to invite community members to tune in for Mayor Beatty's annual State of the City Address. The mayor will share Beaverton's recent accomplishments and highlights and the city's upcoming priorities. This year's in-person event will also be recorded for community members. You could stay tuned with more information at the beavertonoregon.gov SOTC for State of the City. I'm pasting this link as well. Okay. And any questions on anything that I shared just now? Cool. So let me just make sure. Spencer, welcome. Wow, we're actually doing pretty good and ahead of time. And I'm wondering, because we're 3 minutes ahead, Spencer, we all had a chance to introduce ourselves, and someone already gave you a great shout out. Would you like to introduce yourself, Spencer?
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Family matters interrupted life, as they are wont to do. I am Spencer Irman. I'm in my third year on HRAC and had the honor of acting as recorder last year. And it's been a really exciting experience for me so far. I feel as though we've had strong impact in the city. We've earned the respect of City Council through the really, really good work of a few people. And I'm really looking forward to new stuff going forward, to new activities going forward and new achievements. It's been a real pleasure to get to work with Chief Groshong and those of us here. Welcome to Councilor Hartmeier-Prigg. It's really good to see you. Welcome to our new friends. I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody. Human rights in this city mean a great deal to me, and that's why I'm honored to get to serve here.
Spencer, thank you. Spencer, you used to work in the school district as well, right?
I drove a school bus for a couple of years.
Yeah, we have a few folks who were just mentioning earlier who are involved in the school district, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Very cool, y'all. So next piece here is the materials and logistics overview. Before I start this piece, I just want to say that typically in a meeting, I don't talk this much. And I've grown to actually like that. I actually prefer sitting in the background more and giving ownership to the folks in the commission, but that's how it usually happens this first meeting. So don't let that scare you all away. You'll hear less of my voice in these next meetings to come. So for the materials and logistics overview, in a non-pandemic world, you all usually have physical binders that I give y'all. We usually meet in a room together. I usually bring lots of food. But instead of having binders, I'll just ask that y'all go ahead and save the files that I already shared with you prior. And we'll go from there. So first off, I want to go ahead and bring up the bylaws. And does everybody have a copy of the bylaws? You should have received it in the last email that I sent you today. Okay. I'll go ahead and bring it up on my screen too. So if it's easier for some folks to look at it on a screen, you're welcome to look at it here and share. And I'm actually going to ask for some volunteers to help me read here. We won't go through every single piece, but we'll try to get through a bulk of it. So I'll just skip over some pieces. Let's start with the purpose. I think we all know that our name is HRAC, Human Rights Advisory Commission. Can I ask, Kathy, can you please read the purpose? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Do you mean Article 1?
Article 2.
Oh, okay. Thank you. According to Beaverton Code 203270, the purpose of the board is to promote the integration of human rights, values, and principles throughout the Beaverton community. HRAC shall act in an advisory capacity, and its duties shall include advising the city on strategies that strengthen those human rights, values, and principles.
Thank you. If folks have any questions or comments about this, go ahead and stop us. We could review it.
Paolo, can I ask a question? I don't want to take us off track, but so the Human Rights Advisory Board, and then we have the DAB. Mm-hmm. Do we see a lot of crossover? Because, obviously those elements do have overlap in some capacity. Is there a shared experience? Is there crossover? Is there collaboration with those two boards?
Yeah, and I invite others to jump in if they'd like, but with DAB and HRAC, this has actually come up before. So they're very similar because human rights is involved in both of them. I will say that Diversity Advisory Board really focuses their scope more on their community that they're serving are BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, immigrants, refugees, and that's what really leads a lot of their work. And you may also see on the city, beavertonoregon.gov in the cultural inclusion program, there's the DEI or Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Plan, and that really fleshes out what the diversity board works on. If folks want copies of that, we do have physical copies at the city that I'd be happy to give y'all, same with summaries, and there is a spot where you can find online that I could look for later. Human rights, also does and historically has had been dipping their toes also in immigrants' rights and refugee work, also engaging BIPOC populations, but really it's a little bit more broad. Human rights in the past has involved awareness campaign for sex trafficking in the city, engaging schools in the creative expressions arts contests, working specifically on policies with the Beaverton Police Department and Chief Groshong. So similar yet different scopes. Does that make sense at all? Or did I overcomplicate it?
No, you actually clarified it for me.
Cool. Tanya?
Yeah, so one thing that we've discussed in the past or in passing is the idea of having some of us go to the other boards and sit in on their meetings and maybe even introduce, okay, this is present to them, this is what we're doing, and we'd like to network with you or whatever. But we identified a couple, and definitely DAB is one of them too. And maybe the housing group, we talked about maybe going to their meetings. So I think it's a really good thing for us to think about doing, because we all have so much extra time in our life to do it. But yeah, so anyhow.
Yeah, thanks for that extra context, Tanya. And as you're speaking, it also reminded me one of the more recent things that actually HRAC and DAB did to do together, and I think currently might still be happening, is I know Kathy was speaking with some folks on DAB about doing specific targeted outreach to, in this case, the Latinx community for the art project, which we could talk more about later. But yeah, there's definitely cross-pollination of a lot of the work there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and move on to Article 3, our duties. The duties of the board shall consist of, but will not be limited to, the following. Can I ask, Sabdy, will you please read the first three?
Okay, Paolo, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the three. Do you want me to read?
Just the first three, please.
Of the duties? To make sure. Yes, okay. All right, so number 1, recommended, thank you. Recommend action, policies, and legislation to be considered by City Council. Provide human rights education and training opportunities. Promote harmonious intergroup relations in Beaverton by enlisting the cooperation of various racial, religious, and nationality groups, business, community, labor, and governmental organizations, fraternal and benevolent associations, educational, and other groups.
Thank you. Again, just stop us if you have any questions. Can I ask Karen, will you please read the next 3, 4 through 6?
Well, I would love to, but I can't see them. They're too small.
Okay. Well, I don't know if anybody else is able to see it on the screen. I think I could zoom in this way. It's not.
I can do it. Listen to members of the Beaverton community about issues involving human rights in Beaverton. Raise city council and staff awareness, there we go, of potential human rights issues encountered by commission members or reported to the commission by members of the community. Refer individuals to resources that provide solutions to specific problems of prejudice or discrimination occurring in Beaverton. And
thank you. Karen, do you think we could give this one a try? If not, totally
I can see it now. Thank you.
Nice.
All right. Make other reports to City Council as the City Council may request. Make an annual report to City Council as provided in Beaverton Code 2.03.002. The report shall contain a summary of activities the board conducted the previous year. And 9, perform other related duties as directed by the mayor or City Council.
Cool. Thank you. I'm just pausing real quick to see if I see any hands come up or eyebrows saying I don't get it. I think we're good. For Article 4 in membership, I'm going to skip appointment because many of us already went through that, and congratulations, new members. Number of members. We are a little bit short this year, which that's not actually how it started. Typically, this commission has 13 members plus 2 alternates, so up to 15 people in the space. This year, it's quite different. Right now, we have 9 regular members, 2 alternates. The way this worked out is we had some people who moved away from the previous year. We have some people also who were going through the application and appointment process, but actually dropped off or might have been needed in another board or commission. So one of the things that we are looking into, I've never had to do midterm appointments before, but that is something I am looking into and considering. If that's something that y'all would like also, I'm going to assume from what I know so far, there is usually support for more voices and diverse voices in the space, right? So yeah, we're looking to up that as well. But I'm also excited. I've never worked with a little bit of a smaller group. And so, you know, maybe the less hands in the kitchen might actually work out in our favor this time. So we'll go with it. Term of office. So regular members serve 3-year terms. And it begins on the first day of the first calendar year. So happy 5th day of your term, new members. and alternate members are 1 year. I see a hand up, Spencer.
Thank you. Well, I'm confused. Our commission is established by city code, by ordinance, and it's very specific as to what the composition should be. So I don't understand how we can be operating as a legitimate commission without 13 members, which, I mean, the whole the bylaws are part of the ordinance that establishes the commission.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up, Spencer. And I am also aware, and I did bring this up to the neighborhood program because, yeah, besides the bylaws, it's just much smaller than what I'm used to, right? But that's why they brought up the option for midterm appointments. I do believe that there's another part of the bylaws that say too that the mayor can appoint other folks as well. And I don't think they have to wait for midterm appointments, but don't quote me on that. So I was told the neighborhood program to go ahead and business as usual. And you know, your quorum is the main thing that would also change too, right? Based on the number of people in this in the committee. But you know, I'd be happy to ask more directly for, you know, code 203265. Are we stepping on any toes here? Is there something we need to be looking at? But I'll say that this direction did come from the neighborhood program, so I'm not so worried about it. But I'll definitely ask. For context, because I keep saying the neighborhood program, you'll hear me say names like Lanny Parr and the neighborhood program. They're the ones who actually oversee coordination for all the boards and commissions, and like they coordinate with us staff on just like regular practices and checking in with our city attorneys to making sure that, you know, we're abiding by public records laws or anything like that. I think I saw a hand up. Karen.
Yeah, I guess my question is, having been appointed as an alternate when I applied to be on the board, and I think somebody else is in the same position of being an alternate.
Yeah.
If the board isn't full, why were we not appointed as full members?
Sure.
That seems very strange to me.
Yeah, it was actually strange to me as well, and I did push back on that. Part of that was residency, and I believe one of your staff. So there's that piece, and also the other piece, and I'll just be very straightforward and transparent. This year, the mayor was involved in all the interviews. That's very different. And so she was very adamant about what she wanted in there. And this is what was brought up to us. And at the end of the day, she's the one who also approves it. So I wasn't around for this, but my colleague, Alexis Paolo, who knew members who would have met already during the interviews, you know, we both also are diligent on, you know, who we want in the room too. And if I recall also, when we did this, we originally did have a full slate, I believe. But I think what you're also asking about is actually going from alternate to just bumping up regular member. I asked that as well. It's just moving kind of slow. I'm going to follow the theme of what Ashley shared earlier. New structure, new government, new year. It's just moving slow. But I did ask about, can we just bump up our alternates to regular members? But what they did share is, yes, there's the residency, the employee part of it. Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean about residency.
Yeah, so residency, if people live outside the city borders, they're technically appointed as alternates.
I'm not outside the city borders.
Yeah, okay.
I might just not be diverse enough, which is a point that I made in my interview.
I'll ask again because, and I'm sorry I don't have the answer to that. And if believe me, when the reason why I brought it up before is because I want a full board. And I don't even personally like the idea of like alternates. I'm like, if everyone's contributing space, you have a voice.
Well, my understanding is we have a voice, we just don't have a vote.
Yes, there you go. Thanks for the correction.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry I don't have a very clear answer for you for why we can't just bump up alternates. This was the decision that came down from top down, and you know, the bureaucratic ladder, how sometimes that works in government. But that's something I'm gonna ask again and maybe push back a little bit too, because I did find it a little bit odd too, that we don't have full board but have alternates. So
Forgive me for jumping in. I wasn't here at the beginning and I apologize for that. Could people who are appointed as alternates raise their hands, please? So Karen is the only alternate present tonight?
Yep.
There was another alternate present, but I think it was Molly who left early, right?
She had to step out. She had to step out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
No, you know what? And then Hayashi Tomoaki is also appointed as alternate, who isn't here with us right now. And so
Mhm.
I need to check this out because we're only supposed to have 2 alternates. So I think they might have made a mistake with our roster. And I'm just now finding that. So sorry, and thanks for pointing that out, y'all. You may be a regular member. Sabdi?
Paulo,
Yeah.
just we kind of like glossed over it, but there's a question in the chat from Connie asking, excuse me, from Corey, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Asking exactly what is an alternate member versus a general member or
Sure.
full member.
Sure.
And if you can just explain that.
Yeah. And that actually comes up here, I think. Uh-oh. That comes up here also. Why is it doing this? But basically, regular members and alternate members, they contribute to the space the same in terms of helping make decisions and providing insight and bias and background. But when it comes to actually having a vote, when we vote on a decision, we want to work on this, we want to recommend this policy to council, then it's the regular members who vote and alternates do not. Okay. Yeah, so there's 2 things I have on my list here. One, get some more clarity on if we could bump up alternates to regular members, and the other one too is we have 3 alternates listed on here, which is inaccurate, so I'm going to fix that for y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. I just got these actually today, and all the rest of the city's boards and commissions, I think rosters are still not developed, but because this is the first meeting, board meeting at all. This one and back meet at the same time. So let's see, we went over duties already, membership.
Well, forgive me, just one more thing on this membership.
Mhm.
Until I join, based on my count of who's here, until I joined the meeting, we didn't have a quorum.
We had a quorum based on the new, so if it's 13 regular members, we would need to have at least 7 people for quorum. But because our membership sits at, a regular membership sits at 9, it was just 5. So we actually just had enough.
Where does the, okay, I'm just reading the bylaws, man.
50% or more, 50% or more.
Bylaws say.
Here, Spencer, for voting on the December minutes, we needed the December membership, and that quorum was 5, and we had 5.
Okay, I'll stop now. Never mind.
No worries. No, this is all good stuff. Where am I? Yeah, terms, attendance. Basically, please let me know if you're not going to be here, if you're going to be late. So those are excused, unexcused. I'm not a teacher. If you miss more than 50% of regular meetings in the calendar year, whether or not absence is excused or unexcused, you could be removed. And so that decision is usually made by mayor and approved by council. I'll go ahead and move on. And I don't know why my thing is being so finicky right now. Here, I think I need to zoom out in order to actually use this. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Vacancies. Here we are. We're through substantially similar process. A point that, yeah, so it's a similar process to what we already went through. It just isn't made clear when exactly that happens. But again, I've never done this before, but midterm, I'm assuming that I think that happens like June-ish, around that time, but more to come on that. And here's more information about alternates. There may be a maximum of 2 alternates. Alternate members shall serve 1-year terms and are non-voting members. Alternate members are encouraged to attend board meetings and become familiar with the board processes in preparation for potential future appointments on the board. Article 5, officers. So we went through this a little bit already. Joy Stevens is your chair. Sabdy is your vice chair, and Tanya is our recorder. So we voted on the officer positions last year in December. So that's who we have here. I don't know if we need to go through these, but I can slow down if needed. Vacancy: if an officer position becomes available during the year, the board shall vote on a replacement at the next regularly scheduled meeting. The newly elected officer shall complete the term of existing vacancies. Quorum and voting. So a majority of the number of positions on the board shall constitute a quorum for the conduct of business. So I was just sharing earlier, Spencer's 50% or more. Oh my goodness, this is frustrating. This last piece, I just wanted to make sure you all saw as well. With our bylaws here, you can also make a motion to amend the bylaws. Can I have somebody read these 3? I've been talking quite a bit. How about Molly? Wait, is Molly here with us? Oh, Corey? Would you mind reading these last 3, the proposal, review, and ratification, please? Corey, you're with us?
Wait, did you ask Molly or Corey?
Corey, please.
Oh,
sorry. I asked
sorry.
Molly, but Molly's not here, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no worries. So proposal: a majority of board members may propose to amend the board's bylaws at a regularly scheduled meeting, provided that the meeting agenda specifically mentions the proposed amendment to the bylaws. Review: as provided in the Beaverton Code 2.03.002, the board must send the proposed amendments to the city attorney's office for review. And third, is that ratification? Is that pronounced ratification?
Mm-hmm.
As provided in Beaverton Code 2.03.002, proposed amendments to the board's bylaws are not effective unless city council ratifies the amendments by resolution.
Okay. Thank you for reading, Corey. Are there any questions for any of the bylaws pieces? Yeah, Karen.
Well, I noticed that they use the term board a lot. Is that used interchangeably with commission?
Yeah. You know what? And I don't actually know what the difference is. At the city, I think they both have the same function. I've been on a board before, and it didn't feel any different from being on a commission. But no, I don't believe there's a difference there. Tanya.
Yeah, I think it has to do with that we have input on legislative issues and like the Beg Commission doesn't put forward reports and stuff like we do, or I've never seen that happen. So I don't know, that's my 2 bits.
Okay. Thank you.
I would add only that about this, that the bylaws that you've been showing on the screen are different than the bylaws that are on our website. And so my problem is that I've been referring to the bylaws on the website thinking that that would be accurate, and it is not.
You have me worried right now. Okay. I'm going to change these.
The bylaws on the website state clearly that a quorum is 7.
Okay. Well, it's looking like there's a lot of pieces here that y'all pointed out. I'm glad you are, that are inaccurate or need to be changed with this piece. So I'm going to make sure that in our next meeting, we're going to review those specific pieces again. I especially want to get one piece I especially want to get figured out is who are our regular members. It's a little different because I didn't make that decision this year, but I'm going to bring that here. And Spencer, I will look at the bylaws on the internet. They should be the same. I know that these are the last ones that, the most up-to-date ones that we have. And so maybe it just wasn't updated via the website. Unless there's anything else, the next piece I just want to move on to is just the roster. I just need everybody to look at it and make sure that it's correct. I think some of you already had emailed me some corrections on there. I think it was Karen, so I have that noted. Thank you. But if you all look at it, is there anything that jumps out at you right now?
Well, mine is wrong, but I just sent you my information.
Okay.
Everyone, so he has my old stuff.
Oh, that's you did move. Okay, cool. Got
Yeah,
it.
mine's incorrect too. I think I emailed you, Paolo, with the correct information.
You emailed me? Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Cool. And then what I plan to do with this roster too, I just want to say, because this roster, for example, has all of our addresses. I do need that so I could confirm that you all are living that correct place so that we could send you things as needed. But just so you know that we redact those addresses for anything public, and I plan to recreate a roster so that you can all have ones to share, just like a phone number and email with each other. That's usually what most people feel comfortable with, as well as having information for myself and the other liaisons. This is the roster that comes down from, basically what is in our city record. So I have to just make sure first things are uniform. So that's why I'm seeing things that I don't understand here, like why we have 3 alternates. But I'm glad that we're finding those here. Yeah.
Hey, Paulo. So I noticed when I first looked at this, I was just looking at my address and phone number being wrong, but although it says alternate, it also says I've got a 3-year term.
Yeah, that's why I'm starting to think.
So
you're
that's
telling me
very
you're a
strange.
resident, you're telling me all these things. I'm like, oh, I don't think you're supposed to put alternate next to your name. So that's my guess.
Okay.
But I'm going to confirm. Again, I also wasn't there when the decision was made. And so I'm not as close to it.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry there's so many issues with your specific piece here.
Okay.
And we just like picking on you, don't we?
Yeah.
So
the other Karen Stratton is really nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounded really frustrating. Karen was sharing with me that there's another Karen Stratton in the city that we've been confusing, I guess, for several years now. So
Not just you, Walgreens, Rite Aid, THPRD. It's really interesting.
Well, if somebody sends Karen Stratton money, they better send to both of you, I guess. Okay. So if there's nothing else, please go ahead and let me know. I see some. Okay. Lastly, monthly meeting times. So I bring this up because historically, A-Track has always been 6:30 to 8:30. Paulo, we don't want to change that time because I need time to commute from my work and feed my child, whatever it is. But many boards and commissions in the last year have been switching their times to an earlier time, like 5:30 to 7:30, 6 to 8, something like that, because they are working in a virtual space that allows them more flexibility with their time. So with that, I wanted to bring that to you all also. If you think it would be more convenient to have an earlier start time. And see, this is hard because I don't actually know who our regular members are right now, and I don't know if we have quorum to make a vote on this. But what I'm going to suggest is that we could have a conversation here, and then I'd like folks to, let me know what direction they want to go in, and we won't make a decision at least at very earliest until the next meeting, because I do want to give folks a chance to email or message me privately, because if even one person, it does not work, I don't want them to be outed. So how about we just open it up for everyone else? What do y'all think about starting earlier? And if so, what time would that be? Like 5:30 or something? Oh, I see a lot of thumbs already.
5:30 is great.
Oh, wow. Is this a sideways?
Same, 5:30.
It's I don't
5:30
really
works.
care. Yeah.
Don't care.
5:30, 6, whatever, early.
You got 2 thumbs. let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We might have.
I'm curious, does anyone work not virtually? Does anyone work in person? Well, Lisa, I know you have to work in person. It's hard to do your job not in
Yeah, but
person.
I work till 5 Wednesdays and I live 10 minutes from work, so it's fine.
Perfect.
No kids. Well, except this.
That's a kid.
And not spoiled, no.
And I lied. We have at least 5 folks, so the quorum. So I think we could make a vote for it.
We
I
have,
agree with the consensus that even if it doesn't work for one person, I'd rather not do it personally.
I
Right.
did say that, didn't I? Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna ask this question again to folks. that just, like,
Sorry,
yes, Tanya?
it's a struggle for me because I work remotely, but I'm doing therapy with people, and I'm working with East Coast people, and so it might be tough for me, and I'm just new at the job, so I have to check in and figure that piece out. So that would take me a couple days to figure out how to work with that with my job.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How
Okay.
about this? I'm gonna ask again to folks like via email if we could get some more answers there before the next meeting. And I think by then we the chairs and I we could have something ready for y'all if we can move forward with an earlier time. And it sounds like 5:30 is the time that would be.
Yeah,
If we
or
do.
anytime 6 is fine
Mhm.
also, but I think like I just feel strongly that if even one person can't make it, we've all committed to this time anyway. So I would promote.
I would love to be off that early, so so I'm gonna work to figure that out. So, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Mhm.
Cool. Thank you. So more to come on that. I'm all finished unless there's any other questions. Sweet. Yeah.
I had a thought. So in reviewing our presence on the Beaverton City webpage, it seems that HRAC page is not as clean or up to date as it could be. Can that be revisited?
Yeah. I like that idea, and I would love to hear from y'all what changes you'd like to see on there.
Because we
Sure.
moved forward significantly since we did the whole review after the passing of George Floyd, when we started police review and all of that. We've really kind of turned. So
Sure.
maybe something fresh.
Yeah, and maybe that's something chairs we could remember to bring up for like an actual brainstorming session in the next in the February meeting.
Mhm.
So
Well, with everybody's input, everyone,
exactly.
all
So
our
if
new
that
people,
means
poke on the webpage to check it out. And if you have suggestions.
Mhm.
Well,
Dab has a nice one.
I think I saw something. I think I might have seen Corey's hand up, and then we'll move. Someone? No, I was making that up. Okay, Spencer.
the list of members is last year's list of members. It hasn't been updated. Of course, we don't know who all the members are yet anyway. There are a number of things at the bottom that should be moved up so they're more prominent. And it could be, I agree, it could be cleaner and actually more informative. Our purpose and mission could be right up front where people can see it rather than have to go dig around for it. And our membership should be listed, I believe, vertically in a banner down the right side. And
I'm gonna need you to send me these, Spencer.
Stuff like that. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Paolo, do you do the website yourself? Who does that?
I have agency to do stuff with the website, and really I've just added stuff and moved things around to kind of what Spencer was saying, make some of the current work more obvious.
Maybe like links
know
to
what?
our PowerPoints that we did last year.
Yeah, and I'd say like I think we could totally have more agency of what that website looks like. If they push back on anything, then they do. But you know, let's do it. Let's actually have a session where we talk about what we want to see in the website and how it's organized.
Okay.
Tanya, did I see your hand up, or did I make that up? Cool.
Dab has a really nice website where they're bringing in photos and having quotes and stuff like that. And we have to tell people what we're doing. And I think we need to tell people what human rights are and what they look like, because I think everybody thinks it's this big thing. And it's like, no, it's about homeless people, and it's about your neighbors and being respected and all sorts of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm all in favor of spiffing it up a bit.
Sweet. Yeah, in the past, I think it's like the ISD department. So like I don't even know what ISD stands for anymore, but the online servicing webpage department, they create like a template for every board and commission, and then sometimes they're updated, sometimes they weren't, and some people did more with their pages, some people didn't. I think this is a cue that I can be doing more with our page, and I'm happy y'all bring it up. So let's get in there, and it'd be cool to get current photos in there, even though we're not in person. I don't know how that's going to work, but we could figure that out. I think that's everything. Can I go ahead and turn it back over to Joy and Sabdi for the previous year recaps?
Sure. Thank you, Paolo. So to review, last year, 1 year ago tonight, we were still finishing up the year before, which was our recommendations to the city council on recommendations for the police department, because we had gone through a 6-month review, systematically inquiry-based. And that's where we really got to know Chief Groshong, which was awesome. And we were interviewed by the newspaper, the chairs, and there was a very nice article about how we had already had an established relationship before the whole thing with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happened, and the country blew up. We already had a relationship, so it was a really great place to start. So I'll start with that, because we were just finishing that a year ago tonight, which is awesome as a highlight. I think that counts. And that recommendation has been twice presented to the city council, and I think they're on it now. Am I right, Ashley? They've taken it up. So we can put that down, which is nice. And then we have several folks who present to the city council. I like to say stuff. Kathy says stuff. Other people have said things. I will say that if you feel strongly about something, if you could ping one of us in leadership, Paolo or Sabdy or Tanya or myself, and just let us know, let somebody know. It's nice to have someone support you and to know just in general, what are you going to talk about? And so that has gone really well. And Sabdy, the next one you were directly involved with.
Project.
Yes.
So we formed a subcommittee and had the pleasure of introducing the art project. So the idea behind the art project was that we would work with the local artists, right, to create this kind of interactive art piece that we would then kind of pop up at local community events with our art piece and our table. And it would serve as almost like a talking point to kind of engage community members and discuss public safety and specifically what makes our community members feel safe. So we visited a number of different locations, even though of course we had to deal with the pandemic and work around some events being canceled. We were able to visit lots of different locations across Beaverton to talk to our community, and that was all put together into an awesome presentation done by Lisa, who gave us so many amazing data points that really kind of helped us get in tune with what our city is thinking in terms of public safety. So,
yay. Now that was
yay.
done by a subcommittee. And so sometimes HRAC can decide there's a few folks that get together and they want to focus on a specific project. Then reach out to leadership and pitch your ideas, and we'll bring it up at a meeting, and we can form a subcommittee to go off and do things, because we only meet 2 hours a month. Our time is really precious. So a subcommittee for a project like that is perfect. Just so the new people know.
Yeah.
Another thing we did, and this was reflected in our bylaws, where one of our jobs is to respond to community outreach about human rights issues. And Kathy was brought the attention of what our city has called a trespass agreement. Trespass agreements are usual and customary within cities for businesses, so that, say, in the middle of the night, something's going on, who do we contact? It's important for the police to know who to contact. Well, someone had brought this up to Kathy. You want to take a minute?
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Just briefly, how someone brought this to your attention.
Yeah, a friend of mine in Portland has a friend in Beaverton who's a businessman who was given the form, and he was concerned about it. So I got it like third hand, and was very poorly written, and we were a bit afraid that this was going to impinge on civil rights of people who might just not fit a policeman's idea of what good citizens are, right?
Right.
And so the first a lawyer from the city came to us, and then the head lawyer came, rewrote the policy, explained it to us, and the chief did some explaining. So it definitely improved and definitely had a good conversation with all the parties. I'm not sure if everybody feels comfortable with it, but it's a lot better than it was to begin with. And our commission did it.
We did it. We made
yeah.
It did improve. It did improve protections for civil rights and civil liberties of business owners for the city of Beaverton. And it would we would never have known if someone hadn't contacted Kathy. So someone may contact you, and look, we did something very good. And it wasn't anti-police, it wasn't anti-business, it was just advocacy for the citizens of Beaverton. So I feel very good about that.
Yes.
And now we get to decide, beginning tonight, what we want to do this year. We do have one standing committee. The motion was made so that it would continue over the year. Usually standing committees are constituted for that year, the year that the motion is made. Now, November is so close to the end of the year. Spencer had a really great idea. So the motion was made for this to just continue over because it's just barely begun. So we have one standing committee. And Spencer is running that. And anybody who wants to get involved with a subcommittee is welcome to. Please feel invited, all these new people. If it sounds interesting to you, please feel free to join that subcommittee. Spencer, would you like to give your report?
Thanks, Joy. During the process of producing the work that we did with the police department on recommendations to council about policy and so on, we did look at police review bodies that exist across the country. These are citizen-led or community-based review committees or commissions that interact with the police on an ongoing basis, reviewing policies and procedures, and staying up to date on current activities that the police department engages in on a day-to-day basis. Taking a look at various reports of action reports and reports having to do with the police interacting with the public. And we did not make that part of our recommendation, but we thought it important enough, nevertheless, to take a good hard look at. And so we've established a subcommittee to begin looking at what the best ways would be to create such a body for the city of Beaverton. We have had a meeting. We are going to schedule a meeting this month. And again, the purpose at this point is to create a strategy for moving forward with city government and interested groups to form a permanent body to continue to review police department policies and activities.
Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah, if anyone who, anyone would like to join, just email me directly. And my email is correct. It's in the current roster. The current makeup is myself, Joy, Kathy, and Tanya.
Could I add something for the new members? The timeliness of this is really wonderful because the city is interested in or intends to be auditing police policies and intends to look into a review board. And we are the perfect commission to be working with them on this. And it's wonderful.
So thank you, Kathy and Spencer. The way that subcommittees work is if you're interested, you can ping leadership, and when Paolo put out a email when those happen. They run in the same Robert's rules. Somebody does take notes. These are a matter of public record. There's a Zoom. I don't know if we're recording them or not. We're exploring whether we need to do that or just take notes. And so it's part of it, but it doesn't take time from this meeting, and something else can be moving forward. So if it's something of interest to you, please ping leadership and we'll make sure you're involved. You can come in or out of a subcommittee as usual. And then during the regular meeting, this meeting is when a report is given on what happened at the subcommittee meeting. So it's all public. We have to meet public records laws. So I am privy to the information that we did not have a meeting in December for the holidays. So there is no report this month. So if you're interested, please. Kathy.
We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but am I still here? No.
You're here.
The data subcommittee is not done with its work either. What we did was really considered a pilot project. And during the meeting with the police, the meeting was so successful in forwarding collaboration. The police as well as the HRAC members would like to extend it a bit, take the surveys to homeless people and perhaps some other groups. Can we go ahead and do that?
So thank you for bringing that up, Kathy. We do have a fundamental question of who our membership is, who's members and not members, and do we have a quorum this meeting? So I propose we table this conversation, finality vote for the next meeting. But so you know, if there is some interest into reconstituting an art subcommittee, that conversation can go on next month's agenda. Paolo, can you put that on the agenda? And we can have that conversation after we figure out what is our membership and how many members, and we do need that fundamental question done. And is there interest enough to form a whole subcommittee including the new people, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and one thing I just want to
those
clarify.
members are gone. Yeah.
I just want to clarify that technically, as it's just, we actually have a quorum of at least, as I know, 6. It's just the hard part is it 6 people or 7 people that we actually have in our quorum right now based. So if you wanted to make a vote on something, you totally can. It's just we're in a kind of a funky position, and there are members who aren't here with us too. So
There are members not here. I personally would feel better being inclusive and having everyone here. Without taking an official vote, am I seeing a kind of consensus that we include everybody being here to have this conversation and put it on next month's agenda? I'm seeing nods. Is there any?
Agreed.
Okay, this is consensus. So those of you nervous about voting and not voting, usually we do stuff by consensus, which is also allowed under Robert's rules. It's easier than having this hierarchical who can vote and not. Everyone's voice counts if we're working by consensus. So,
Joy, I love having your legal background in these spaces.
Yeah.
It helps.
it's not legal, it's a fraternal. I'm part of the Masonic order and been doing Robert's rules for 10 years. And one of my best friends, she's been doing it for 50 years. So we have some really interesting conversations. But I don't really want to know it that well. So how about we put it on the agenda for next month? And who do we have left from the art project that's still on the commission? Lisa?
Sabdy.
Yeah.
I have a question, because there's the art project, which had data collection in it, and the art project, I'm wanting to change the name because it's not about art anymore.
Right.
It's about data.
Yes.
Well, it was always the Arts and Data Committee, wasn't it?
Here's another
suggestion. It was always Arts and Data, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Arts and Data Committee.
Another suggestion, since we're waiting. One of the things that I've been pushing Paolo on is when I very first came onto this commission, and I came on as an alternate and was promoted within a couple of months. So being an alternate isn't really, I was never treated any differently. I didn't know I was an alternate until I was told, because I was voted on into being a member. So the city usually, when you're appointed to a commission, sends you links for a bunch of classes that it's funny, the city, they want you to know stuff. They actually teach you what they want you to do. I know, crazy. That hasn't happened. The city is still, because of Omicron, is still up in the air about what is their policy and procedure for in-person versus virtual meetings. We're still waiting on a lot of stuff. So we have time. So my suggestion in the bigger picture is, since we're already waiting for city things, we are going to have a conversation about what is it we as a body wanted to accomplish this year. And before we instigate something to a subcommittee, let's have the conversation about what it is we want to do and see, is this something everybody wants to do? Then it's not a subcommittee, or is this something a subcommittee wants to do? See where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Because we're still waiting on information, we could make a decision and then regret it. Or we can wait a month or two for Omicron to settle into whatever it's going to do and then make a good decision. What do you think?
So
I'm good with
we're
that.
talking about retreat now and meeting.
Well, it is
Sounds
the next thing on there.
I don't think there's going to be in person anything for the near or distant future.
So maybe
I'm
we're
sad
not.
to tell you guys, but as our medical consultant today, I just don't think it's going to happen. And even if it does, there's another variant in France. So let's just, I think we only have a year. It's okay, guys. I think we need to consider that COVID is maybe not a junior, but actually in its infancy, and eventually will become a junior a very long time from now. And we just need to get comfortable doing this because this is the reality. And I don't want to waste precious time hoping that we can hang out. But once we do hang out, I will host a barbecue and we will all get together and have a good time. But I think we should just have a retreat. That's my opinion. Via Zoom.
Have a Zoom retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plan that.
And Paulo sends us all food.
Yes, my
through
thought
Uber
exactly.
Eats.
A bit of beer or wine.
Wait, on the record, I never bought anybody beer or wine. Definitely not allowed.
Just
I do
saying.
buy lots of food.
I know it's sad. I'm sorry. I think like it's just a logical thing. Plus, like, I think I love the idea of kids staying in school because they're young and healthy, but like adults and people with any medical conditions, like I just don't think mingling is a good idea. I'm sorry.
You know, the thing about COVID is that my favorite answer is never on the test, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I want my favorite answer. There's also a team build. I love to build really solid teams, and I don't know how to do that virtually yet.
Well, I have a really great idea where we could each have like a sort of like Secret Santa, but it's not secret. And it's just like you have to mail your Secret Santa something before retreat. That's a surprise. It could be a letter, like anything, something to interact in a non-computerized way. I don't know. But I really don't think in person is gonna fly unless we're outside in the summer, but like that's 6 months from now or however long from now.
Well, the one thing that I suggested during our leadership meeting, putting together the agenda is, so last February, my best friend who turned 50, she was supposed to fly to New York and go to Broadway for her 50th birthday, and that didn't happen. She ended up coming down for the snowstorm, for the ice. And we walked over to my favorite tap house where there's heaters, and we had beer outside in the snowstorm, and it was actually quite fun. And with the First Avenue being closed for permanently to have food there, the First Avenue thing there by Lionheart Coffee is where the mayor has been meeting people outside with heaters. And I have been going to my favorite tap house outside with heaters. I think that at least for a meal or something, we could eat outside with heaters. You just know, I mean, we live in Food Central and it's wonderful being in Beaverton. So I'm thinking, yeah, at least the nuts and bolts gritty part where we brainstorm and think about all the different things that we would like to work on. But could we have a meal outside at the first?
I think for people who are comfortable, like as a more social activity, I think that's super appropriate. But I think, yeah, I just think from a business, getting business done perspective and the realities of what this looks like, it's, yeah. I think like I get together with people outside in the air.
I was also thinking of taking it in pieces because really, for example, the art project should take place in better weather. So there is time to wait and see where the variants go before putting together a schedule.
That's true.
Or in-person stuff, so that we do have some time for some of these things while we accomplish other things, like the annual police report on stop date and the Title VI report. There's some stuff we do that we just do it in like this while we build. What are we going to do in good weather outside? What do we want to accomplish?
Can't wait.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do it in pieces. Also not my favorite. My favorite answer's not here and I don't like it.
So I think you were alluding to this already, Joe, but I think it was you and maybe Sabdy who brought up the idea too during our meeting of an additional Zoom meeting outside of the regular meetings. That might look like 2 hours, something like that, for the nuts and bolts pieces and gritty pieces you're talking about. And then the optional dinner or social gathering over on First Ave, beers on Kathy, for folks who feel comfortable. But then of course, as the weather gets nicer, there's other opportunity for more also. So it sounds like if folks like that, maybe we can throw out 2 or 3 dates, times that might work for the folks who are here now. And then in between now and the next meeting, myself and leadership could actually, I don't know, doodle poll it or something to where we could actually find the time that works for folks for the nitty gritty.
Right, and then we also will have some clarity on what the city has decided to do and how they're going to handle it, because we want to, of course, comply with whatever the city decides.
We're leaning on you for that one, Ashley.
Yeah, you know, right? And they haven't made a decision yet. So, well, that's fun. What do you think? The gradual approach, piece by piece? That's how we built Rome.
So you also expect, along with the updates to bylaws and things that I mentioned before, the 2 things that we're going to talk about is maybe some sort of doodle poll for the next for the retreat, and then also it looks like we're going to gauge to see check in again to see if 5:30 to 7:30 works for regular meeting times.
Yeah, and Joy, Sabdy, and Tanya, I trust y'all's like leadership to make the decision about retreat. Personally, I don't know how other members feel. We don't have very many here right now, but I would just do whatever. I trust your judgment. So if y'all want to like,
that, Lisa.
Yeah, talk
Thank
offline and like figure it out. Just make a decision, because then we can keep things rolling in some way.
We got to keep, we got to go rolling. I will tell you that I'm totally paranoid about COVID. I don't go anywhere. I don't go anymore.
No, I have no judgment about anyone's decisions, but I just,
I don't want it. A girlfriend of mine was vaccinated and she went somewhere and she got it and she's dead now.
Oh no. Yeah.
So I'm really
definitely stay safe out there. It's everywhere. I mean,
yeah. And I'm also cautious about the whole pre-existing condition thing, because to me it sounds like, well, what was she wearing?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not going to do that. No, we're not minimizing. It's a terrible, deadly thing, and everyone has to make their own decisions. And I support that. And I don't want.
And isolation is also deadly. I want to remind everyone that isolation and loneliness are also deadly conditions that are very,
depression
very
is a fatal illness. Yes,
definitely very serious. And that's why everyone needs to make their own unique decisions. But as a government, participating body, I don't think having official business in person during a surge is a good idea.
Yeah. And the good thing is, well, I've been listening to, Dr. Fauci and the CDC. This seems to be burning hot and fast, and maybe in a month or so, it'll be on the downside. Lisa.
I like to think just because to prevent healthcare provider burnout, which everyone has, in case you're wondering, all your healthcare providers are incredibly burnt out. But I just think it's never going to end, and it's fine. Like, that's just my opinion. It's just like, it's going to happen. It's going to be here forever. And this is what it's going to be like forever. And then if it changes, it'll be great. And it'll feel really great. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to be let down ever. So that's my take, my prevention. Highly recommend.
Yes, that is the secret to going the long haul. It's just the way it is.
New normal. That's just how it is.
As we talk about retreat or not, and I mean virtual retreat, you're talking about little chunks of retreat versus a longer chunk?
We didn't have this last year. We were busy with the whole Floyd thing. So what it was the other is we spent a 6-hour day. We spent a 6 in the room, and we had reports from city players, like someone who is like chair of the library. I didn't know we had one of those. And we heard from city people, and we heard from each other, and we talked about why we got involved, more like stories of why we're here. And we got to know each other over food because it is a restaurant and Paolo has a thing about food. There's always food, which creates a community in a way that not having food doesn't in person. And we talked about some of the things that we wanted to, move forward with. And then at the next meeting, public meeting, we made a list and we narrowed it down and we were going in a direction, and then George Floyd happened. So, but because we had built a community, it was easy to pivot.
Right. I'm wondering what new members would feel about a retreat, because I missed it last year, not having
I
one.
know.
It
I
was
missed it so
harder
much
to come into. I had so many questions, and in a meeting, you don't have time. Other things are going on. I see just one new member here right now, although Amy was last year, your first year, and Spencer,
She's our youth
Lisa,
advisor.
maybe, Sabdy. Yeah, and so, but anyway, all of us could use it, probably.
We definitely need it. I need the feeling of community that we didn't have last year. So
yeah,
I'd like to do that.
Tanya took me out to coffee and that was really nice. I highly recommend offline hangouts.
Yes, I'd love to hang out with folks. I hang out at the Raindrop Tap House, and you ever want to have something to drink, join me there. They've had no cases within there. We're all very careful, and it's the same people. It's up the street from me. So it's a good place. They have outdoor and heaters, and that's where I took my best friend in the ice, and we were fine.
Where do you go?
The Raindrop Tap House. It's actually next to. There are 30
local business.
It's a local business. Mark Foster runs it. All his kids are on the rainbow flag, and his wife's a nurse. To sit inside, you have to show proof of vaccination. They have things that are alcoholic. You can order food and have it delivered there. You can bring your own food. So it's an awesome place for community. If anyone wants to hang out, just ping me.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited
So how about
to have Karen to have you in the group, and hopefully you'll get to know us a little bit over the course of the year.
Thanks, Lisa.
So this next month, we'll put together some dates. We'll have some clarification from the city on guidance, and we'll get that out to you, okay? To everybody.
Thank you.
Is there anything else to come before the board?
I have one thing. I just want to share that there are a regular handful of city trainings. I think Joy was talking about earlier. So like recorder training, effective meetings training, new member orientation. New members, you should have received an email, because I believe that's the only training where the date is actually confirmed. Following the theme again that things are just behind at the city.
And take all of them. I recommend all of them.
They're all great. They're all really good, actually. And I even suggest, if you've done it before, myself included, I may go to the effective trainings meeting again. They're helpful. They're quite helpful.
They are.
Even if you're not the recorder training is still helpful.
It's really helpful, especially if you want to do leadership. So if our recorder can't be here, we can tap you to be recorder, and then you can practice. All right. Well, there's nothing more. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're all motioning to adjourn. Okay.